defending my title as many times as possible. I didn't blow up, like other fighters ballooning in weight. You got to work to make sure you lose the weight. It's not like you're gonna lose the weight just sitting around. But it's not a big issue for me. I don't have any concerns about making the weight.
128 pounds, 128, the official weight.
The maximum weight for a championship featherweight fight is 126 pounds. Garcia weighed in at 128 pounds, 2 pounds over the limit. So I got both camps together, and they agreed that Garcia would pay a six-figure sum to the Lopez camp, and the fight would go on.
We gave it a best shot. Really, just couldn't do it. Couldn't squeeze anything out. I wanted to do it. My dad actually didn't want me to even try. The title is only available for him to win. I basically right now lose my title on the scale. I just couldn't do it, bro. It's just one of those things that you just can't do it.
So sources close to the story tell us that six-figure sum of money was $150,000. The net result is that Garcia gives up the featherweight championship he won in his last fight. Lopez can win it if he wins the fight, or the title will be vacated. Your take?
Well, look, I understand the point of view that says, who really loses? Garcia couldn't make the weight. Lopez gets extra money. Lopez also here gets a built-in excuse in the event he loses, and the show goes on. I understand that point of view, but I disagree with it. It's not that Mikey Garcia didn't suffer to make the weight and give it an honest effort, as you'll see in moments he did. It's that there's a growing trend in boxing where the A side, so to speak, the privileged fighter, is the guy who can afford to purchase a weight advantage in the event that he can't make weight. We've seen this with Floyd Mayweather, Adrian Bronner, Joan Guzman, now Mikey Garcia, and we've seen it with others. It takes tremendous cooperation to stage a prize fight, a lot of trust and sportsmanship. And if a fighter can no longer compete in that weight class, the fight should not be made in that weight class. I don't like it.
A lot of people never saw this coming, didn't anticipate that Garcia would be the kind of guy who would step onto the scale at 128 and then say, nope, I'm not going to try to make it. And you start with the assumption that he didn't suffer, but as Max Kellerman pointed out, he did. Our camera followed him back to his hotel and caught this shot not long after he left the weigh-in of Garcia throwing up into a bucket in his room. So we know now that there was physical distress involved in this situation for Mikey Garcia. And Roy Jones, that brings another wrinkle to the whole situation. What does this do for Juanma Lopez's chances to win the fight and his belief that he can win the fight?
Well, it definitely heightens his chances to win the fight. Mainly because I thought coming in that Mikey Garcia may have been the better puncher. Now with that weight weakening him like it has, I don't know if that's going to be the case. Lopez, however, already felt as though he was the powerful puncher in the fight, the more powerful puncher in the fight. With that being said, now that he knows that this kid had to struggle to make weight, he will even more be more convinced that he's the stronger guy, and it will give him a little bit more confidence that he probably can win the fight.
Yeah, the irony is that if you had told anybody in boxing 2 weeks ago one of these guys is going to have difficulty making weight, the assumption would have been, oh yeah, Juanma might have difficulty making it because he's the guy who's been talking about moving up to 130. Instead, it's Garcia. Let's take a look at the tail of the tape now for Mikey Garcia against Juanma Lopez. You see the 4-year age advantage for Mikey Garcia. Also a 2-inch height advantage. Also a half-inch arm length advantage measured from the armpit to the end of the fist. We've outlined the weight in blue because that's where he was, 2 pounds over the 126-pound limit. And tonight, Garcia has come in unofficially at 142 against 137 and a half for Lopez. Just 3 years ago, Juanma Lopez appeared to be the future of the featherweight division. But things changed quickly for the Puerto Rican star. We spoke with Lopez about the rough stretch of his career.
You know, the first fight against Salido was a tough fight. It was a huge fight, you know. And we came in, we weren't overconfident. But when we lost, and that was a tough moment. It was really difficult to accept that second loss, especially because I was dominating the fight, the way I was dominating. And you know, the card showed me that I was ahead. But to lose was very tough. I felt much worse there. It was a tremendous pain in that second loss.
Yo lo dije, él y su hijo son dos apostadores, se pasan apostando con un señor de Encagua que yo conozco y se pasan apostando, son unos apostadores. Estuvieron mal, la comisión estuvo mal, les falló en ponerle como árbitro.
You know, after that fight, what I remember is when I opened my eyes in the dressing room. At home, I saw the transmission again, and I saw the show, and I said, oh my God, they're going to kick me out. How could I have said that? I'm very sorry for that. I repent for what happened, and I will always be ashamed of it. I think that year has helped me rebuild physically, mentally, and also has settled me.
And there is Juanma Lopez in the ring now with a big opportunity facing him against a seemingly compromised Mikey Garcia. Only 2 losses in his entire career, both of them to Orlando Salido. And it was that same Orlando Salido against whom Garcia fought and took the title in his last outing. Normally, he's a relatively slow starter who likes to measure an opponent in the first 3 rounds before really opening up and beginning to throw punches. But let's take a look at what happened against Salido. He operated opposite to his normal form. Round 1, knockdown number 1. Round 1 again, knockdown number 2. And this is the reason why Roy Jones mentioned to you that he suspected coming in that Garcia would have the punching power advantage. The 3rd knockdown in round number 3. The 4th knockdown in round number 4. He had thoroughly dominated Salido throughout when they had a clash of heads in the 8th round. And in the clash of heads, Salido's head bumped against Mikey Garcia's nose. Between rounds, the doctor examined the nose, said that it was broken, and that Garcia should not be allowed to continue. It became a 8-round technical decision in favor of Garcia. Following day, he had the nose operated on surgically. He says the surgery went very well, and here he's getting a warm reception from the crowd in Dallas as he comes to the ring. Roy Jones, obviously, the broken nose has been tested in training camp. But is there apprehension for a fighter coming into the ring for the fight for the first time after an injury like that?
No, I don't think a fighter has any apprehension with a broken nose, because that's something that most fighters are forced to continue a fight with. So there are a lot of guys who are prone to broken noses, who have fought several rounds with them, and who expect them sometime even coming in.
In fact, since he got the nose fixed, it appears that it's a little bit less of a target than it used to be, Jim.
Well, certainly I would have asked the doctor for that kind of adjustment. Put it on the back of my head. Mikey Garcia, along with his father, Eduardo Garcia, whom you knew many years ago as the trainer of Fernando Vargas. Father also of Mikey's older brother, Robert Garcia, who was last year's Trainer of the Year. Let's go to Michael Buffer now in the center of the ring for the official introductions.
Ladies and gentlemen, from American Airlines Arena, Dallas, Texas, USA, Mr. Bob Arum's Top Rank Boxing and Foreman Boys Promotions in association with PR Best Promotions proudly presents the main event of the evening. 12 rounds of boxing for the vacant WBO Featherweight Championship of the World. Sponsored by Tecate con Carácter and sanctioned by the Texas Department of Licensing and Regulation, Executive Director William Kuntz, Administrator Dick Cole. At ringside, the 3 judges scoring this bout will be Javier Alvarez, Levi Martinez, and Oren Schellenberger. And inside the ring, in charge of the action at the bell, your referee, Rafael Ramos. And now, the officials are ready. The fighters are ready. So for the thousands in attendance and the millions watching around the world, ladies and gentlemen, let's get ready to rumble! Fighting out of the blue corner, wearing black with gold and silver, official weight 125 1/4 pounds. His professional record, an outstanding one. 33 victories, including 30 knockouts, with only 2 defeats. From Caguas, Puerto Rico, the 2-time champion of the world, Juanma Lopez. And fighting out of the red corner, wearing black with blue, officially weighing 128 pounds. A perfect professional record, 31 fights, 31 victories, including 26 knockouts. From Moreno Valley, California, the fighting pride of Oxnard, former featherweight world champion, Miguel Angel Mikey Garcia.
Okay, guys, you receive the pre-fight instruction, recibiste las instrucciones. Protect yourself at all time, protégete todo el tiempo. Buena suerte, good luck, and remember, no one's more professional than I. Let's go, let's do it.
Mikey Garcia is a methodical, technical fighter. Juanma Lopez has shown in the past he can be an explosive puncher. Can he do something early in this fight, especially given Garcia's struggles on the scale, to upset Garcia's balance? Can he do something dramatic?
Round one between a couple of genuinely explosive fighters. The pattern that Mikey Garcia has demonstrated in early rounds through most of his fights, with the sole exception of his fight against Orlando Salido. He tends to try to get a look at the opponent, throws a lesser number of punches in the first 3 rounds, and then steps it up from that point forward.
This is a guy who was vomiting not all that long ago, trying to make weight, completely dehydrated, Mikey Garcia.
And what an irony that Brandon Rios was there in his dressing room before the fight, because twice in recent years, we've seen Rios go through what appeared to be near-death experiences to make weight for his fights. In New York against John Murray, in Carson, California, before his first fight with Mike Alvarado, Rios was desperate distress both times, but made the weight. Garcia just missing with a right hand that was aimed at doing big damage.
Yeah, and I don't like how straight up Memoir's head was when he missed that shot, because had that shot been on the button, that could have been bad things.
You know what else could be bad is the Southpaw Orthodox fighter clash of heads, because it nearly occurred about 30 seconds ago with both guys lunging in.
Well, like a lot of offensive fighters, Roy Jones, and I think you're touching on this, Juanma Lopez does not have a lot of head movement.
Not at all, and that's a bad thing in a fight like this, because usually when you have a southpaw versus an orthodox fighter, they are prone to have a head collision. And with him coming straight down the pipe like this, it's bound to happen. The only thing is, in his case, he hopes that he collides with Garcia's head before his head collides with Garcia's hook.
He's been able to land. Juanma has some straight left hands so far. And that's not his Sunday punch. Lopez's Sunday punch is the right hook.
The problem with his Sunday punch here on Saturday, though, is that to throw that right hook, he's also in range to be caught with Mikey Garcia's left hook.
Unofficial score, Steve Weisfeld, your take on referee Rafael Ramos.
He's a very good judge. He got very good referee. He got his start as an amateur boxer in the U.S. Army, where he served our country for 21 years. He became a professional referee in New Jersey in the late 1980s. He refereed many big fights, such as Marquez Diaz and Pacquiao Clottey, and he has the skills and background to do a great job tonight.
Garcia is catching Lopez with his jab coming in. Lopez missed with a big left cross at the end of the round.
Some good, hard punches exchanged in that round.
Don't forget that jab. Keep the jab in his face, okay? Don't throw a lazy jab, okay? Jab, keep your left hand up high. Jab, step back, okay? Right? Give me some little feints, little feints. He drops the hands and throw that hook with the right hand. 3-2, all right? Breathe, okay? Keep that jab, step in. Don't step in with it.
Keep your hands up and close your guard, all right, baby? Jab, loosen up a bit, all right? You jab, move your torso, all right? So you're not an easy target, okay?
In round one, Juanma Lopez was playing into Mikey Garcia's hands, going straight forward into his jab. Garcia therefore landed 15 out of 36 punches, 42%. 14 of those 15 landed punches for Garcia were jabs. Juanma was only 7 of 43.
There's real tension in this fight because they're throwing punches like they mean it, and they're both flashing some skill, and you get the sense that something big could happen at any moment.
At any time.
Fighting in the middle of the ring.
See, Manuel just has to be very careful of that left hook when he engages Garcia, because all of his weight goes out in front of his right leg, which is his front leg, and there's no way that if Garcia times him, he's going to get out of the weight of that left hook, like right there. And I don't like that he doesn't react to that straight right hand that Garcia just threw.
Good left hook by Garcia, sticks the jab again.
Seems to be going
another left hook for Garcia.
Garcia's way, and yet we've seen with Juanma, for instance, against Ponce de Leon, that he has the kind of punching power that can turn things around quickly.
He does, but in this fight, in this particular fight, everything is against that because he's fighting a bigger man, a man that also can match him in punching power, and he keeps giving his lead away by putting his weight above, out in front of his front foot. So having your weight in front of your front foot allows you to get countered.
And it does seem he's kind of hanging out there.
Too much, way too much.
And fighting that way against a fighter who is as relaxed and fluid as Garcia can be suicide.
Yeah, because it's just a matter of time before he catches you or times you. Like that right there.
3 left hooks in a row for Mikey Garcia. Not big impact, just enough to score. Juanma lands a jab and touches Mikey with the left hand, but not big. Down he goes on a perfect right crook.
And I told you, I didn't like the way he reacts to that right hand. He doesn't get out the way of it, and he's going to catch him sooner or later.
Now can Garcia show that kind of technical mastery and finishing prowess in spite of the weight struggles?
Manuel is not well on his feet right now. Another good punch could be bad.
But as usual, Garcia is taking his time, relaxed, not unnecessarily pressing the issue when he knows that the tactical flow of the fight is on his side.
Garcia aware enough to extend his right hand to make sure the ref wasn't there as he moved to his right at the end of that round.
Okay? Don't get into no exchanges. All right? Round by round, you're going to do that, all right? Keep doing that. Let him make mistakes. Okay? Let him make mistakes and you catch him, just like you did right there. Okay? And then don't get overexcited. Keep it cool.
Here you see when Garcia throws his punch, nothing ever happens. He never gets out the way. He never reacts to the punch. So anytime Garcia throws the right hand, Manwa is not reacting to that punch at all. Impossible to get out the way. See, straight up in the air, right down the pipe, no left or right movement, not even a hand to block the right hand.
And that's the reaction of Garcia's wife, Fatima, seated at ringside. You might think that Mikey Garcia, growing up in a family of fighters, which is now a family of trainers, would have had a burning desire to become a boxer. Not so. He was 13 or 14 years old when his family roped him into entering an amateur competition in which he had no particular interest, and he wound up going to the finals of that tournament and figured out, well, I guess maybe I'm pretty good at this.
He's the embodiment of the expression, you don't choose your profession chooses you. He was so good at it that it made sense for him to pursue it.
And this despite the fact that he's already passed through the police academy in Ventura County, California. So he already has a step toward a possible alternative career somewhere in the future.
Juanma's face starting to show the effects of these Garcia shots.
I don't like to see a guy with the legs that Juanma has, and it seems as though he can't keep his balance much anymore. That's a bad effect that the game of boxing has on a lot of guys. And as you see, when he throws his left hand, he's always off balance, like that right there. Very difficult for him to avoid getting hit after that punch.
Juanma will be 30 years old in 2 weeks, Roy Jones. Does he look like an old 30 to you?
He is an old 30. He's been through a lot of wars, Jim. Well, not a lot of wars, but a lot of tough fights. He's knocked out a lot of guys because he's such a good puncher, but he's not really looking well as a fighter to me.
I think you were right the first time. I would call them wars. The Batagua fight, the Solido fights, those are 3 legitimate wars.
And it seems as though they have taken a little bit of a toll on him. Now, that year off helped him a lot, I guarantee you, but as you see, his balance is not good right now. Like that right there. Big heart, very skilled fighter, and a very powerful guy.
There was a moment early in his career when I thought his quick right hook was as devastating as any punch in boxing. But as the years went by, he seemed to go away from it a little bit, got a little bit more left-hand crazy, much more stationary on his feet. And there's never been any head movement. He's always been an all-offensive fighter.
No, hey. Vamos a agarrar, okay, let's go.
In today's time, it's very difficult being just an offensive fighter. These guys are punching with much more velocity, much more precision.
Juanma Lopez landed a left hand in that exchange.
No.
Garcia missing with a wild right.
Lopez did dodge the right hand, then. That was good to see.
It's caught with a left hook. Outs his chin to Garcia. Maybe not a great idea in a round in which you've already been down. In 2 weeks, it's the return of emerging star Gennady Golovkin. June 29, middleweight sensation Gennady Golovkin puts his title on the line against Matthew Macklin. After the fight, stay tuned for my show, The Fight Game, a mid-year report on news and issues in the sport of boxing.
Breathe. ¿Cómo siente la condición? ¿Cómo siente el cuerpo? ¿Bien? ¿Bien? ¿Nada? Ok, de todos no por eso hay que caer en errores, ok?
Well, come on, you can't fall into those errors there.
Él tira esta lento.
He throws this one slowly. Be quick.
¿Qué, mijo?
He's running too much.
Here you see Mikey Garcia at the very end of the round land another counter left hook, and that left hook left Juanma wobbling back to the corner when the bell rang.
Yeah, that stiff-legged walk.
Yes.
CompuBox numbers through 3. Garcia is averaging 13 out of 41 per round. Lopez 6 out of 42. They're throwing 40 punches per round. The division average for 126-pounders is 58 punches per round. The slow pace favors Garcia. It's the way he likes to fight. Steve Weisfeld, how do you have it through 3?
Jim, I have it 30-26 with a 10-8 round in round 2 because of the knockdown. In addition to all of his other problems, I think Lopez is fighting at exactly the wrong distance. He's getting outboxed and outpunched, so I have Garcia up by 4 points.
I agree with Steve's assessment. Garcia takes these little half-step backs, throws the jab, half-step back, and Juanma walks right into his shots.
2 more solid punches for Garcia, a left and a right. Lopez not looking any better as the 4th round progresses.
No, he has a big heart, Jim, but that heart is going to hurt him a little bit tonight because he's in front of a big puncher.
Well, it's his only chance right now, it seems, is hang in there and try to land a big shot.
Yeah, but when you throw a big shot, you're also open to be caught with a big shot.
What about closing the distance and trying to force the pace? Trying to make it more of his kind of fight.
It's hard for him, Jim, because his balance is so bad. Mike is just taking a little step back like that, and then Mike can throw a perfect shot.
Perfect left hook. Second time Lopez has been down. 3rd time he's been rocked, and referee Rafael Ramos has seen it up.
Good stoppage. He was unsteady on his feet. Fell into the ropes.
Great stoppage.
A clinic. So clearly Garcia made the right competitive decision in deciding not to pursue the weight issue any further.
You have to have real skills if you want to compete with Mikey Garcia. You can't just wing it. If you have serious flaws in your game, as Juanma does, Garcia will ruthlessly exploit them.
Absolutely right. Great counterpuncher. And Roy Jones, you made an excellent point. No all-offensive fighter is going to get it done against somebody like that. You got to be well-balanced.
You got to be well-balanced. Nowadays, with fighting, the pound-for-pound guys are guys that can do it all. The guys that are right under that are guys that can do it all. They just don't do it all as well as the top pound-for-pound guys.
Here's a replay of the knockout. You tell us what happened, Roy.
Yeah, Garcia on the attack lands a beautiful left hook right there. And Juanma was hurt at that point. The left hook just kind of finished matters. He was hurt with a shot a little bit previous to that. I think his counter right hand right there. That shot hurt him pretty bad. He kept trying to fight back because of his heart, but as you see, his balance is horrible. He doesn't have legs right now, and there was a left hook that finished him.
That awkward lunge was a suicide move against a fighter as good as Garcia.
Yes, you can't just lunge in against a guy with these type of skills who comes from basically a fighting family.
Not just a fighting family, a family where they study fighting. A family that basically treats it as an academic pursuit. This is a guy who has been to graduate school, and Juan Manuel Lopez has not.
No.
Good stoppage by referee Rafael Ramos. No need for any more punishment to be incurred by Lopez. There's the reaction of older brother Robert Garcia, who trains him along with his dad. Robert, of course, runs the training camp in Oxnard. Dad and Mikey live in Riverside. It's about a 100-mile drive, but what the heck? They go after it every day. Let's go to Michael Buffer for the official particulars on the knockout.
The end comes in round number 4. The official time, 1 minute, 35 seconds. The winner by knockout victory. His record now goes to 32-0, perfect with 27 KOs from Moreno Valley, California. The fighting pride of Oxnard. He is Miguel Angel Mikey Garcia.
Going to take a look at punch zone numbers showing you where the punches landed. And you can see that Mikey Garcia only faced 23 landed punches in the fight. But look at that. Garcia didn't bother to land a single body shot in the fight. 53 punches landed upstairs. Why? Because Lopez was such an open, willing target. that Garcia didn't even need to land to the body to set anything up. Is that a fair interpretation, Roy?
Yes, a fair interpretation because also everything he did was over his front foot.
Max Kellerman stands by with the winner.
Congratulations, Mikey, on doing what you always do, which is beat up the guy in front of you. First, how does it feel to have lost your title on the scales?
It's not what I wanted, not what I expected, and definitely does suck. I got emotional when I knew I couldn't make the weight. On the way to the scale, I knew I was already over. And I did all I could to try to shrink down to 126, and it just wasn't possible for me this time. I had a few days that didn't help out, and it just wasn't this time.
Were you feeling any pressure from any person or people around you to fight at featherweight when you no longer felt you were a featherweight?
No, I think I could still fight at the featherweight limit. Just one of those things, one of those nights. Tonight wasn't the day, but with the proper training, proper diet, I feel I could still do it. And
but why wouldn't you have the proper training and proper diet for this fight? It sounds like you're a junior lightweight now.
I had a few days off last week. I got a little sick, but we never tell anybody. And I'm sure a lot of fighters go through this too, but they never say anything because they don't want to risk, canceling the show or canceling the fight. And that probably, was a reason why, I had problems making weight. But, we did hard work. We did the work in sparring, training. Everything was well, except the diet was the one that affected me at the end.
Rocky Martinez was here today. There are some fights for you at 130 pounds. Are you saying that that's not in your immediate future?
Oh, that's still an option. I would actually like to, try out 130, and if I feel comfortable there, I would stay there. If I feel that, my division would be the 126 still, I could still, try to come back down.
Okay, we did this a little backwards today, but let's talk about the fight now. You really beat him up. We have the knockdowns for you. Tell me what you see here.
Okay, well...
The knockout.
Yeah. Well, right before that punch, I heard my brother yell, counter straight his left with your straight right, and I landed a perfect right hand there that actually hurt him, and the left hook there at the end just put him down, but it was the right hand that really hurt him.
The fight was over so quickly we didn't really get into it ringside, but your style seems to be you study your opponent for 2 or 3 rounds, you figure him out, and then it's you go through your program. What happened tonight? Because this ended even earlier than some of your fights against top opposition in the past.
I caught him early on in that last round. The right hand hurt him, and if I hurt him enough, I was gonna go for a stoppage. He wasn't able to continue. In that second round when I dropped him, he wasn't hurt as bad, so I didn't go for the knockout. I knew he was still fresh. He's still hungry. He was actually coming in strong still, so I didn't want to risk getting knocked out myself. So I waited a few more rounds, and in that last round I hurt him, and that was it.
Thanks, Mikey. Good luck. Hope to see you soon. Jim?
All right, thank you very much, Max. So it was a night on which both of the favorites did their business and did it effectively in knockout style. First, Terrence Crawford, perhaps on his way to becoming the best 135-pound fighter in the world, beat Alejandro Sanabria with a perfect knockout shot. One left hook brought an end to that fight, and then you saw Mikey Garcia do what he did against Juanma Lopez. Another brilliant and impressive performance by Garcia, and it remains to be seen now whether he's a 126-pound fighter or a 130-pound fighter. Either way, he'll be the class of the division. Earlier this evening, a Mexican prospect named Oscar Valdez on the showcase level here for his promoter Top Rank, and in the second round against a hopelessly outmatched opponent named Gil Garcia. And I guarantee you, Valdez gets tougher work than that in the gym. He knocked Garcia down, and then referee Lawrence Cole allowed the fight to continue unaccountably, and Valdez wailed away until Cole ultimately stepped in and called an end to the fight. So yet another knockout on a night of knockouts here in Dallas. Now, before we say goodbye, here's a preview of tomorrow's premiere of True Blood.
The world is changing, and we have to change with it.
The humans are fighting back.
Y'all come in here and you say you love me and you want me. I'm not yours or anybody's.
How are you doing this?
I play by a different set of rules now.
Come in here and answer for your crime.
Prepare to meet your maker, Warlow.
It is us against them. What is it going to take for you to understand?
I want this town lit up like a Christmas tree.
What if we don't deserve to survive?
We have nothing to negotiate with. We have nothing to fight it with.
What is it about me that you want?
June 25, Real Sports returns with a look at Jay Williams, a former #1 pick in the NBA draft who suffered a career-ending motorcycle accident but has now made a new rewarding life for himself. June 29, it's a Boxing After Dark tripleheader headlined by middleweight champ Gennady Golovkin, who's facing Matthew Macklin. Immediately following that fight, stay tuned for The Fight Game, where we'll have a mid-year report on all the sport's most important news and issues. And July 27th, HBO 2 brings you another special show from Macau, China. Two-time gold medalist Zhao Ximing takes on Jesus Ortega. And that brings us to the end of our program, so long from Dallas. For everyone at HBO Sports, I'm Jim Lampley.